Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're celebrating our 7-year birthday. Join us as we walk down memory lane and share how it all started, our favorite episodes, what we've learned, and where we see ourselves in the future. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're celebrating our 7-year birthday. Midlife Matters is 7 years old. Can you believe that, Julie and Mindy? We are getting old.
I can't believe it. We're in second grade now.
I know.
I know. My first thought was like our 7-year itch once you told me, it was 7, because literally when I said that we should celebrate, this birthday coming up, I thought it was 6 years. And Marie let me know it is 7. So
Yeah, and that's what happens when you get old. You start forgetting that you've already had that birthday.
I didn't go there, Marie. I actually was thinking we were just having too much fun.
Yeah, so today we thought we would do a little walk down memory lane. And the first thing we want to start about is how did we all begin? So I would love to be able to have everybody in a room and have a show of hands. Who heard the first episode? On the other hand, I really don't feel like you should start with the first episode because as with anything, you get better with age.
I know. I thought I've never gone back and listened to our first introductory episode.
Me neither.
I mean, I think I did at the beginning, but I'm just kind of afraid to. I don't know. It's just like, not that I think they were bad, but at the same time, I assume and certainly hope that we've improved over the years. So I just don't want to go back.
I hope so. I mean, do you guys remember how kind of terrified you felt when we first recorded? Like the first, I don't know, months long. I just was so nervous.
Yeah, nothing felt very natural, so.
Yeah.
I used to write out a lot of stuff.
Me too.
I typed everything up, edited it.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Which clearly we don't anymore.
No. So how did it all begin? Well, I think at that time, podcasts, maybe I'd been listening to podcasts for a year or two, but as with anything, is if I like something, I always want to maybe see if I could try and do it. So like when blogging was popular, I had a blog. And when I got into podcasts, I thought, I would think it would be fun to have one of these. And there weren't a lot of podcasts for people with kids our age, which we all had teenagers at that time. And I remember saying to Julie, like, what would you think about starting a podcast? And I think I could have probably knocked her over with a feather. She didn't know what to say to that.
I still remember we were on the trail at Crockett Park.
I know. I do remember that.
I remember right where we were. And I thought, what?
I did not see that coming.
You do know who you're talking to here. The person who doesn't really talk that much.
Which I've never really perceived that about you as not talkative. Have you perceived her as not talkative?
Not at all. Not at all.
So I think that's kind of funny.
I feel like I'm pretty much nonverbal sometimes.
People think you're pretty awesome.
Maybe you grew up being told that you were shy or that you didn't talk a lot, and it just kind of stuck into your feelings about adulthood. But I've never really noticed it as an adult.
Well, and I'll say that I don't feel that way around friends. It's more in strange company or new situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what I didn't understand about the podcast. I'm so glad I said yes. Like it has really been a great part of my life. But sometimes I forget we have an audience, and I don't know if that's good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but,
agreed.
I do just feel like the three of us are talking. So, that made it easier.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the highest compliments anyone can give us, I think. I love it when people say that they feel like they met with their friends or they went to coffee with their friends because they really did meet with us for an hour.
Yeah.
But Mindy, what were you doing when I asked you about it?
Julie, I remember exactly where I was as well. I was in an Old Navy outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, trying to grapple with all the things that had just been happening in my life. We had just dropped Abby off at college in Tennessee and moved from Knoxville to Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. And I think the boys had just gotten in school, and Marie calls me, and I'm literally in an Old Navy. And she tells me this idea. And I'm like, let me walk outside.
Plus, I don't know that you'd ever listened to a podcast before that,
I
had
had
you?
never listened to a podcast.
Yeah.
I knew
I
what
don't
it
know that I had either.
yeah.
Not regularly. Not regularly. Yeah.
I knew what it was, and I told Marie, I said, "Well, I just moved, and I wasn't planning to make any commitments right now until we get settled." And Marie says, "Oh, Mindy, all you have to do is talk, and you're so great at talking. You can talk to anybody."
She said, "You're settled."
Yeah, just give it a try. I think you can do a great job. All you gotta do is talk.
Like,
I'm really good at making things sound easy.
Oh, you're like the bare minimum. You knew to get my foot through the door, it's gonna have to be the bare minimum. So literally, I asked my family, and they're like, "You should do that."
I remember there was a little bit of time where I thought, I don't know if Mindy's going to do this. I don't know. I don't know.
I did not commit right away.
Well, I
Yeah.
tried removing absolutely every obstacle except opening your mouth. I couldn't do that for
Yeah.
you.
That's right.
Just
And
show
you
up.
did. You did. Just show up.
So we did get started, and Julie asked us to look at our first 7 episodes, which honestly, it's painful for me to even go. I don't like going
Oh.
back to the beginning of things. Like I don't like
Okay.
looking at and thinking, oh, I mean, I know I've grown, but then it's so cringy to go back and look.
I did, and I thought it showed me how much things have changed, though, when I went back and
Yeah.
looked in a lot of things, in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
Well, what do you guys
Right.
think of our first 7 episodes? Because I'm only just looking at the titles right now.
Well, I love that the first one, we did the first 2 episodes were kind of just to introduce the podcast and then to introduce us. And apparently we learned that I could travel the world with only a backpack. Mindy might break out dancing wherever she goes, and Marie could live in a library.
Oh.
Oh, that's funny, Julie.
So that kind of sums us up, I guess.
Sums us up.
I
Okay.
think those things are probably true about all of us today.
Little bit.
Yeah.
Bit.
What did you think about our first 7 episodes, Mindy?
Okay, looking at those, of course, I remember our first episode because I remember having to sit down with a piece of paper and a pen to figure out all the places I had lived growing up because my dad was military.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was neat. Just like you guys, okay, where are you from? And it was like you could answer. And I'm like, that question's always been hard for me. Where are you from? Everywhere. But every military child would say that. But then I noticed that the teenage survival guides are within our first 7 episodes. And so, yeah, our kids were in stages that were very different than where we are now.
Yeah.
And that was interesting.
And we had a first Christmas episode right off the bat, which I've always loved our holiday episodes. So that was fun.
Mhm.
And then I think the 7th was hospitality, which has been a recurring theme. I think every year
Yes.
we've done something about hospitality.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
We really just like hit strong on a lot of the topics that we've continued to talk about. Teenagers, Christmas, hospitality, marriage. We hit marriage on episode
Mhm.
number 8.
Yes. Yes.
And I think at the beginning, I think we thought we would run out of topics. And honestly, we still do think that.
We're still thinking that.
We still think that.
But if someone would have said at the beginning, like, you're going to come up with, and they haven't all been brand new, but if someone had said, you're going to come up with 340 topics, I would have been like, I'm struggling to get to 20.
Right.
Well, I remember you guys probably remember laughing at me because I am a planner. And I remember thinking, okay, when can we sit down and like plan and record the next 25 episodes? Because I thought that's kind of what you did, like, no, we have to know, like, we can't just wing this every week. I'll go nuts, But, and I think we did used to maybe have one in our pocket, for a while. And now we just go week to week. So that's definitely a way that I've grown. Like, okay, I don't have to know this. Just give me 24 hours notice.
I mean, honestly, you
Right.
could just give me one factoid 5 minutes before.
We had figured out we really can talk about anything for an hour.
Just give us one idea.
I know. We are a little more hand to mouth though these
Right.
days.
We are. We're struggling a bit, but there does always seem to be something, and our birthday is certainly reason to create a whole episode. And I was looking back, and actually the past 2 years we have not celebrated our birthday. We were pretty good about celebrating our birthday the first 4 years, and then I'm not really sure what happened. I guess we didn't think birthdays were as big a deal, but we're bringing it back around.
Yeah. Yeah. Worthy of celebration. One
Well,
thing I
clearly I
wanted to
didn't.
say just about the way we do the podcast, in case people haven't been listening for a long time, we each record from our own homes, like closet, bedroom, hallway, wherever. And we have the ability to see each other. We just don't record the video. So
Right.
we do see
Right.
each other and we see what's going on. We see our I'm a fans and all that, but just we
Yeah.
don't record it.
Actually, thank you for saying that. People ask me that often.
How you record?
Yeah. How do you record?
Yeah, and we are in different states. So two of
Right.
one of us is in a
Right.
different state from the other two. So
We've never recorded an episode in all of us in like one room. That's not
No.
really how it
Right.
happened.
I think in our oh, that's a future question. I won't go there yet. I'm already jumping ahead.
Okay. Julie, you brought up who were our first guests, and I feel like it was one of your friends.
our very first guest, which that seemed just like we were so into the podcast at that point, and it was episode 11. And it was my friend Janet Watson. It was called Working Moms with Janet Watson. So I remember it was in Molly's old bedroom. I think she was here visiting, and we snagged her and said, "Can you talk to us?"
I feel like you might have even shared a microphone for it. Like we didn't
Yes, we
even have
did.
a microphone for her. You had to back up, and then she had to get on.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, we just pulled from wherever. I mean, we've interviewed our kids, we've interviewed various friends. We've had, some people that have like contacted us through email and said, "Hey, could we be on your podcast?" But most of the time, we pull from people that we know.
Right.
Yeah. I remember my friend Janet. I think she gets the award for having been on 3 times.
Oh,
I was trying to think of guests that have been on more than
Okay.
once. I know Tiana
I feel
Yeah.
like
has been on
Tiana's
more than
been
once.
on. Yeah.
And then Janet has been on 3 times. So she was on Moving in Midlife, Don't
Uh-huh.
Overthink It, which was more recent, and then How to Send Your Kids to College for Free. And she said she still gets emails asking
so
her for info
incredible.
about that.
Okay,
And that was
that's
episode
an
144.
Thank you for sharing that. That's an incredible episode. If you're looking for how to get college paid for, you should listen to that one.
Yeah.
The first time we interviewed Tiana Blaisdell, episode 18, was on teen dating. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually started laughing when I saw that because you should listen to that if you're trying to get your kids married off, because literally two of her 4 are married now. The third one is now engaged. And I just feel like
Oh, my
they
goodness.
know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they're planning a wedding a year, basically, or like
Yes.
15 months, like every 15 months. So we're going to have her on for like how to plan a wedding every year.
Exactly. Yeah, she's got a system.
Yeah. I remember the first time we got a guest that was, I'll say famous,
Yes.
known, outside of just our friendship. It was Scarlett Hildebeidel, and she had written a
Mhm.
book, and I emailed her, and I remember thinking, "Oh, how likely is this?" And she emailed right back, and I was upstairs going, "She said yes." She said yes, like I couldn't believe it. So that was really fun when you have somebody a little well known, and I know Marie, you have a good story about one of your
Yeah.
favorite guests.
Yeah. One of the podcasts that I really loved listening to was the Happier Podcast with Gretchen Rubin. For a whole year, we had done her book, Happier at Home. And so
Right.
then we often do like 1 or 2 chapters out of a book a month and talk about them. And so as the finale for that book, I said, let's just see if she would come on and talk about that book. And I can remember I emailed her and thought, I am not going to hear back. And I know my son was skeptical that I would hear back too, because then he started checking my email without me knowing. And he was the one that actually told me that she said yes before I ever even saw the email. He's like, I can't believe it.
Wow. I didn't know that, Marie. I didn't
Yeah.
know it was your son that found out.
That's funny because she lives in New York City, And so during COVID, she probably just couldn't do anything else.
I think that's true because I think she was on a lot of podcasts.
We hit her at the
She
right
was
time.
locked up.
She was like, I'm home all day anyway. Who wants to
Yeah.
talk?
Yeah.
Yep, let's do it. We sure didn't pay her.
Oh, no.
Good timing.
Yeah. I would have to say that series, the Happier at Home series of us going through that book, I loved that book. I read it before we ever even started the podcast. And then getting to do it for a whole year with you guys, those were some of my very favorite episodes. And
Yeah.
just embrace the bigger life and, all the things. Like, I still think of those things.
Yeah, me
those are
too.
some of my favorite ones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my favorite guest would have to have been my husband, episode 51,
Oh.
Mammograms, Myths, and More. So
Uh-huh.
if you have any questions on that, you can go back and
Yeah.
hear his voice.
He was such a rock star. You guys remember? He had to record twice. We had to record twice.
I
We
don't
went through
remember
the
that,
whole
Mindy. We
thing.
did?
We went
Don't
through the whole
remember.
thing and then realized it wasn't recording.
Thank goodness my mind blocks things like that out.
And that episode, the one that
so
you
funny.
listened to, is our second recording of the exact same information.
What busy doctor would spend 3 hours talking about the same thing?
I'm so glad you were married to him, Julie, because nobody else would do that. That's the only time that's ever happened to us, though.
Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
oh gosh. I'm sure it was a day off. So what else did he have to do?
I know. And he loved to talk.
And he loved the podcast. He really
Yes,
did. He
he
shared
did.
it. I have so many people that follow that are friends of his that I've kind of
Yes.
become friends with, since
Yes.
then. So
Yeah, he was a huge fan. And Bryce has been a huge fan. I feel like
Oh,
Bryce
yes.
has listened to every single episode.
So within that first, let's see, when was our Costco episode? That's close to the beginning. He was really enjoying the podcast. And then when we did the Costco episode, we still joke about this. It's episode 17, the scoop on Costco and Sam's. He said, Mindy, I had very low expectations. He said, I really wasn't interested in that topic, to be perfectly honest, just between me and you. But I listened. That was your best episode today. He said, I loved how the three of you just hit different highlights. And, you did like history and you did all the different things and the information. He said, that was so well done.
Oh, that's so good. And
So
he is a
literally-
huge fan of Costco to this day.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
Well, I love the episodes where we interviewed our kids. We have an
Yeah.
episode where we interviewed our daughters. We should actually replay that sometime.
We should.
And let's see, Mindy, how old? Your daughter was in college.
Yeah, the Midlife Matters Daughters. That's episode 34.
Okay, so she was a freshman.
It was released in 2019. She had finished freshman year.
Okay, yeah. And then
Yeah.
my daughter, I think she was married too. Yeah, she was married in 2017. So she was definitely married, but she didn't have any kids. Did Molly? I think Molly was about to have her first child, maybe.
Yes.
So I guess we spanned the gamut at that point. We had someone in
Yeah.
college, we had someone married and expecting her first baby, and we had somebody just
Yeah.
kind of newly married.
Right.
So we had 3 stages of life. And I don't
Mhm.
remember a lot about that podcast, but I do remember Abigail saying that she wanted a lot of kids and to own a hobby farm. And those
hobby
2
farm.
pieces of information were news to me. And so it's just so funny that she has 3 kids and would still like to have more. And she doesn't have any animals yet, but she is busy on her hobby farm right now.
Yes. I feel like she's doing exactly what she said.
Yeah. And same with Abby. I mean, she was going to school to be a nurse, and that's what she is.
She's a nurse now, married, and in school to be a nurse practitioner. So she's
Wow.
Yes.
I don't remember anything that was said on that podcast.
Well,
I don't
I
either.
just know that Molly was pregnant, and now she has 2 boys. And,
Yeah.
one of
Yeah,
them's already
that's
in
right.
school. That little baby that wasn't
Is
even
in
born is
kindergarten.
already in kindergarten. So that's
Yeah.
how crazy
Wow.
time flies.
Yeah. Wow. Mm.
Yeah. So those are some of my favorite guests. I also interviewed my son and I don't know if she was my daughter-in-law at that time or not. I don't remember when it exactly came out. They might have been just still dating. But they were both in college, and then her college-age sister came on, and they all talked about kids in college. And I remember that was a neat episode too.
Mm-hmm. I know one of my favorite guests that we did have was also a book that we did. We did Happy School by Julie Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that book so much. Very light-hearted book. And you guys know I used to really resist the kind of self-helpy kind of books.
Yes.
And now I really enjoy them. I think because we talk about them, but I think I learned a lot out of that one. Things that I still incorporate in my everyday life. And
Me too.
I will probably end up going through that book with some friends here again soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that was a really good book. I mean, I feel like I don't know that we've read a book that I said, oh, that wasn't worthwhile, but that one does stick out in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to what is the biggest thing you've learned? I've learned so much, like different things pop in and out of my mind is, well, that's a neat thing I've learned. Just from the amount of books that we've read, I've learned so much. Not to mention even all the talking that we've done and that I've learned just bouncing ideas off you guys or researching something for the episodes. But does anything stick out in your mind?
Well, for me, I thought I've learned so much about each of you. And even though we were already friends, I thought, when you know another person, that means you don't just know like facts or things about their past. You can actually, when you really know them, it's like you know how they're going to react to future things and to specific circumstances. I heard somebody say one time, like, when a person says, I know that horse, it's not like they've seen it before. It means they know how it's going to act and react, like they get on it because it's going to do well. And I thought that's kind of how I feel like I know you guys. Like, like when we're talking about a topic, I can almost hear the angle Mindy's going to take and the one you're going to take. And, like I'm not saying you guys are predictable, but I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to know somebody that well,
Yeah.
And I don't know, like when friends move away, often that kind of connection doesn't remain. So I'm thankful for that,
And we've had to dive in deep. Like we've taken a lot of personality quizzes and then talked about them. We've taken a lot of like, what would you do? Like we've had a lot of like deep things about ourselves that you wouldn't typically talk about or discuss with other people. And so I think that's one of the reasons that we know each other better because we know our bents in certain things.
Right. Yeah. I also was going to say that it's made me look more deeply into things and being more introspective, like as I've maybe had to research a topic. These would be more like the serious topics to know, like, well, what do I really think about this? What do I really believe about it and myself? And because it would be really easy to come on here and just say what you want people to hear. But I think we've all tried to be really honest with ourselves and our listeners, especially when we're dealing with some more of the serious topics, we've been vulnerable and willing to admit our flaws and our doubts and our fears and things we struggle with.
Yeah. Those are very close to what the two things that I put, Julie, ironically, I think as an overarching theme, I wrote, we've learned endurance and longevity. Being committed to a project for now 7 years is really incredible because I don't have any other commitments in my life outside of my family that have lasted that long. And so to me, that really is incredible. Walking through seasons together. And I love that. I love that because you guys have made me talk about things I don't want to talk about. You've made me read books I don't want to read. I'm kidding. But what I love is that it does make you grow. Like when you kind of sit with something and you're like, well, how do I feel about that? Well, how would I explain that verbally? I don't necessarily choose to talk about things that I don't fully understand. And then I don't choose to necessarily sit with things for long enough to figure out what I think about them. But when we go into a topic, you have to know what you think. And to me, that was hard. Like it was actually hard to sit with certain topics and figure out, well, what do I think? And how would I say that verbally?
especially because in one of our episodes, I learned that I'm a verbal processor. And so I decide how I feel about something by talking about it. I might start out feeling one way, and then as I talk about it, you might hear me come around to a completely different way because I was talking about it. And that doesn't usually happen in my mind. It happens as I process it out loud. But one of the things that the biggest things I appreciate about this format is that I've gotten the chance to say a lot of things that my kids listen to or have listened to on the podcast that we probably would have never talked about in person, or they may not have given me the time or space to verbally process them out loud, but in this format, they do. And also, they get to hear what other women that I respect think about it. And so I just feel like it's a win-win-win on all aspects. And so that's
Right.
really been great because I really love that we've been able to cover so many different things. And my kids will reference things that I've said on the podcast.
I know C.S. Lewis talks about how when you're friends with different people, different friends bring out different facets of your personality. And it's neat because by talking out loud about subjects, all different subjects that we have talked about, Bryce has mentioned he's gotten to know me differently in a way that's really amazing. Sometimes he'll say, I didn't know that about you. I've never heard you talk about that. I said, no one's ever asked me that.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I think Mindy, you're probably an internal processor, and I
Yes,
am too.
Yeah.
So, a lot of this is always going on in my head. And even though I don't necessarily want to talk about it, I actually do. Like once I have kind of figured things out, it is good to get it out, and get some feedback and get some encouragement. And, it's helpful.
Me too, Julie. But Julie and I do, we are both internal processors. And it was neat to find that out. And then neat to find out that Marie is not. And that's how we respond. It's been an area of growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go on to what are some of your favorite episodes or things that we've done? Not necessarily guests, but just ones that stick out in your mind.
Well, I just kind of flipped back through all the titles, and I really loved the Treat Yourself Like a Professor and Treat Yourself Like a Toddler. I thought those were just fun perspectives on same old ideas, just a new way to look at it. I really loved our book studies, and I had kind of totally forgotten about the Happy School one when I wrote these down, but I really loved Happier at Home with Gretchen Rubin, and I loved What If It's Wonderful by Nicole Zasowski, and that one's starting at 197 if anybody wants to go back and pick those up. And I think Gretchen, that was early on. I don't remember the episode numbers, but those were two of my favorite books. And then I had to laugh at our series of episodes that had Beatles songs in the title.
I remember
I don't know what we were thinking with those.
It was Let It Be, Yesterday, Help I Need Somebody, and Come Together. But they really did kind of turn into be good topics.
Yeah. We try to get an idea from anywhere.
Yes.
But I remember Julie coming up with that. I can't remember how, but it was such a creative way to do it. And then it was so fun.
What were some of your favorite episodes, Mindy?
I loved any of the episodes that had to do with friendship, friendship and midlife. We've done quite a few, I feel like quite a few. And I just think that is such a practically helpful topic for all people. And it's something that we're always growing in, and it's something that we all need. And so I just always felt that was such an encouragement to talk about to talk about friendship, because it doesn't just happen and it's not just easy. So I really was proud of us for talking about that and being vulnerable there. We did an episode on forgiveness a while ago. I'm actually not sure when it was because I was scrolling for days even to get back to the beginning, which is really a blessing, but I'm not sure where the forgiveness episode is at. But I remember it being very encouraging, healing, difficult to talk about. I remember praying fervently over that podcast, and I just really loved how it turned out.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of fun ones. I'm going to mention my health journey. My personal testimony of getting healthy is episode 15, and although it's early in our recordings, it's a testimony that I love that I told. And it's a testimony that I have encouraged women that I know personally to listen to when they're going through a health journey.
Mm.
So it's actually been helpful as a resource so they can hear, we know each other personally. They think Mindy's never struggled,
Mm-hmm.
and how did you get there? And I'm like, well, this is actually a good resource to hear my testimony. And so I'm glad to have that actually, almost like a journal entry, but
Yeah.
with words that it's
Yeah.
there. And then the last, I really love that I did a LaGrange episode. When we moved to LaGrange, almost 5 years ago, I really fell in love with this place, and it's such a unique community, and it really centers around a legacy of the Calloway family. It just was amazing to be able to record just this living legacy and then this community that's been wonderful. So that actually has brought me a lot of joy as well.
That's great. Yeah. I've liked so many of them. I love any of them where we really delve deep, even into sad topics. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we've done a good job with stuff like that. But I would say that some of my favorite ones are the ones we've pulled from Real Simple magazine, like their essays and I like poignant things. And a lot, when they used to have those essays, they were really poignant and they made you think about things in a new way. And then we did some episodes based on those essays, and I really enjoyed that. I also, for fun, really loved it when they had their original advice giver. And we picked out the ones that we wanted to talk about on the podcast. That was really fun. Like, would we give the same advice? I have not been able to find another column that had such varied and easily to talk about problems that like everyone deals with, because like a lot of them are very specific. But I remember even like, how would you deal with neighbor who wanted you to be more quiet while their baby took a nap? Like just general, not like it was just
marriage or
not marriage, or my boyfriend has another lover in another state. What should I do? Like not those kind of questions. It was like things that you could actually really talk about, and well, how would you deal with that situation? And I was really sad. I think her name was Catherine Newman. I was really sad when she left that advice column because I don't think they've ever had another one that was as good as her.
Track her down.
I know.
Where's she writing?
Yeah.
I know. So I liked the questions that she picked.
We've done quite a bit of decluttering episodes, which I think is funny.
We're always decluttering.
How to let go of things, when to get rid of it, how to get rid of it. One of my favorites was End of an Heirloom, which was episode 173.
I think that was based on a Real Simple essay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, there's quite a bit that recur. Hospitality, friendship, decluttering, marriage. I feel like those are kind of core.
Empty nest.
Empty nest.
Deal with your
empty nest now.
Grown kids. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move into a little bit about what has changed for each of us, because that changed our topic lines. Like we kind of grew in our topics as our family life changed. So how do you look different today in different areas of your life than you did back then, Mindy? You said you were in Old Navy and you just moved to Pennsylvania.
I had just moved to Pennsylvania. Well, none of us knew that 2 years later, COVID would hit. And so that really rocked, the world. And we handled it as well as possible, with our podcast.
We thought it'd be over in like 2 weeks. If you go back and listen, we think, I think we thought we better do an episode while this is still happening.
I know.
Or for a while, it's like, we're not even going to mention it because this is a blip,
Yeah.
Exactly. And all of our kids were home. So there was a lot going on there. But it really was a catalyst for my family to end up moving. And so when we moved to Pennsylvania, we were in a rental home until our home in Tennessee sold. Then we bought a house. COVID hit, so then we sold the house and we moved south. And then we had to move a couple of times until we settled in our home here in LaGrange. And so since the podcast started, I have lived in 4 houses and 3 states.
I can't
Wow.
believe that, Mindy.
And even though, like, this house I'm living in, we're about to celebrate 5 years, but literally COVID rocked our world. So it created a lot of upheaval. And honestly, now I feel like I've been in this home forever. But like when we started, we mentioned that Abby, she's my oldest of 4, was a freshman in college. Well, now, 7 years later, my last child of 4 will go to college next August. So it's
Yeah.
literally like spanned all those years.
So much happens during that time.
Yes. And for our family, we have gained one new person. We have gained Joey. He and my daughter married almost 5 years ago.
Which
So we've
seems
expanded
incredible.
a little
5
bit.
years. That's
Yeah, I
amazing.
can't believe it's been 5.
I know. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Wow.
How have I changed? Well, I started out with my last 2, my twins, were freshmen in high school. My oldest, let's see, she was married in 2017. So she'd been married about a year, I guess, when we started the podcast. And then I had a son in college and another son in high school. So I guess I had 3 high schoolers, a college student, and a newly married. And now, after 7 years, I have 2 that are married. I have another one that has graduated and is totally out on his own. And I have 2 that are finishing their senior years of college. So like they went from freshman year of high school to senior year of college. And we've gained 3 and almost 4 grandchildren. So like my son got married during that time. So we already had Nick. We'd already added 1 when my daughter got married. Then we added Maddie. Then we added Pepper, my first granddaughter. Then we added Chapel, my second granddaughter. We added Briggs, my first grandson. And now we are about to add another grandson any day as we speak. Maddie is overdue. And so I'm sure by the time this episode comes out, we will have another grandson. So
Oh.
It's exciting.
yeah.
Yes.
So, and I lived in 2 houses because I started out in one house, and once the kids left, I just wanted to go in a completely different direction as far as like how I lived. So yeah.
Right.
All right, well, my mind immediately goes to the most profound change in my life, and it's that I lost John about 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in November. So it's been really hard for me to go back and actually listen to myself on the podcast prior to that. Like 2018, 2019 were really great years in my life. But when I go back and hear myself, I'm like, oh, she was talking and thinking everything was great, and I had no idea what was coming. So I don't really like to go back there on the podcast. But so that's the biggest change. And I've also been in 2 houses, 2 different towns near Nashville. I moved from Brentwood, where he had been there for 26 years, and now I'm in Franklin. I was driving a Mini Cooper. Now I'm in a Subaru. If that doesn't sum up my life, I don't know what does. I have added 2 grandchildren, and now, there's 6 and 2. And, I think, gosh, we all went through a pandemic. What a time. I remember just thinking, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? Because life wasn't normal. Like we couldn't talk about all the things that our kids were doing because they weren't doing anything. My mom lives with me now. One of my children has moved back in with me. And then just about a month ago, I lost my sweet dog, Charlie. So I haven't said anything yet, but I do have a new pup in training. He's a 2-year-old Bernedoodle. So he's a Bernese Mountain Dog Poodle mix.
Wow.
His name is Skeeter, and he's pretty adorable.
He is super
So-
cute.
He's a rescue dog, and he's just wants to sit in my lap all day long, which apparently is kind of typical of the breed. I've never had a dog other than a lab, so I don't understand him just yet,
Okay.
but super sweet.
Aw.
If we share any pictures, it needs to be of
That's
Skeeter.
true. We need
Yeah,
to
I'll
put some
post one,
pictures of
yeah.
Skeeter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shaved him right before I picked him up, and I'm like, oh, why did
Yeah.
you do that? So he needs to grow out a little bit before.
Well, let's let his hair grow.
Yeah. One thing that I thought about though was that our audience is 7 years older too. That some have finally moved into midlife. Maybe, because I know we've had some younger listeners who
Mhm.
just like to say they like to listen to people who are a little bit ahead of them. So maybe some of those have moved into midlife. Some
Right.
have finally sent their last kid off and are now in the empty nest, and they've just been hearing us talk about it.
Mhm.
Or they have kids that got married, or now they have grandchildren too. Some have entered perimenopause.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I'm just glad for all our listeners who've been along for the journey with us. So,
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Well, what do those listeners ask for the most? I feel like it's probably changed over the years.
yeah,
I think we used to be asked a lot more questions about teenagers, but now we're
yeah.
kind of out of the teenage years. I mean, Mindy's still hanging on a little bit, but your teenager
Yeah.
has like reached the point of a lot of maturity. They're not back at 13. And
Right.
so I feel like I breathe a little sigh of relief that I've moved
Mhm.
out of actual teenagers and I'm
Right.
moved more into young adults and adults.
Right. Yeah, like, we used to talk about, sibling rivalry. I'm like,
Yeah.
we don't deal with that anymore. That's kind of a non-thing.
Mhm. I think we did one episode on like boys and one episode on
Mhm.
girls or something and describing them as teenagers and yeah, like
Right.
they've just our kids have changed so much. They're just not in those stages anymore. And
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm
I
not
think we
starting
did
out
one
raising
called
a
Keeping the
teenager.
Faith,
Oh,
but it
yeah.
was
Right.
primarily focused on our teenagers, like, what if they
Right.
don't like youth group and it was
Mhm.
Mhm.
most of our, topics kinda came around to being affected by how it affected teenagers.
Right.
Right, right.
Yeah, I loved our episode on raising average kids.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my favorite too.
We're okay raising average kids.
We're okay. We're okay. But yeah, now we talk more about parenting adult kids. I feel like we get a lot of listeners that are interested in how do you parent adult kids or, navigating holidays with, your child's spouse and their family or grandparenting, things like that. So that's
Mhm.
kind of the stages that we're all talking about.
Yeah, if someone asked me to talk about teenagers, I really couldn't because my kids have been out of high school for 4 years now, so I don't really know
Mhm.
what high schools are dealing with. That period of time changes so quickly culturally, technologically,
Yeah.
emotionally, all the things, like, I'm not up on that anymore, so I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that's what makes me think our audience is probably aging with us,
Right.
because
Yeah.
they're also growing out of those years.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, except when my sophomore in college son, who has never listened to our podcast, his friends are telling him what I'm talking about on the
Oh,
podcast.
that's funny.
That's always surprising. But I'll say one thing though that Marie, you were willing and vulnerable to talk about empty nest, and I thought that was really helpful because I'm going to end up going back and listening to that when I'm there.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, we've walked, you into empty nest and it was a little uncomfortable at times.
I feel like I had 2 really big fears around the time I started the podcast. One, what was the empty nest gonna be like? And I was still a ways away from it. Like, I still have 2 in college even at this moment. Like, I don't really have a totally empty nest yet, but I don't know, I start pre-worrying too early.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then also I was very worried about what it would be like to have a daughter-in-law because I didn't have a daughter-in-law at the beginning of the podcast, but about a year in, I gained one. And if you look at any social media accounts, and it only gets worse every day, the mother and daughter-in-law relationship is so fraught on social media. And all I could think was, this is gonna be the end. And actually, it's been so good, and I mean, I love Maddie, and she's added so much to our family, and I feel like she just completes my son and makes him a better person, and so, like, my fears were unfounded But
Mhm.
man, I was scared. I remember her even calling me after one of our interviews. We interviewed somebody who had become a mother-in-law, and I remember I was in the dentist room, waiting room, and she called. She's like, "Did that episode make you feel any better?" She wasn't quite married into our family yet at that point, and I said, "Yeah," but inside I was like, "No, nothing's gonna make me feel better except actual experience." And right now, all my fears
Yeah.
are front and center.
Yeah. But it's neat because we really have walked through a lot of the things that have been fears,
Mhm.
you know, and kind of tackled them. And I know that learning to talk about these topics, all of them, has helped put things in perspective. It's been an encouragement to me to be able to talk to you guys first and foremost, have guests, read books, you know, and realize we're not alone.
Mhm.
And I think so often our listeners feel that way. I'm not alone, and this is normal. And if somebody could say those two things in every stage of life,
Mhm.
somehow it helps, you know, you feel a little bit better about it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Julie, I think, has gone through the most on the podcast and has been so transparent and generous with processing. Like, I can remember when John was first diagnosed, and she was like, I don't know if I can even do the podcast anymore. Like, how will I ever
Mhm.
talk about this? How will I ever laugh at anything? Who cares about these like frivolous topics? Like, we did an episode back after John first was diagnosed. I think it
Mm.
might have been called like the hard things in life. And
Mhm.
like, I just feel like that whole period of time where John was sick is just like really a precious living journal of really how God has worked in Julie's life and continues to work and carry her like through her fears. I mean, talk about fears. She's gone through and faced the worst fear and,
Yeah.
done it with such grace and a wonderful, beautiful testimony and example. And so I just feel like our podcast is such a living testimony of that whole journey. And that's out there for anyone to hear.
Thank you guys. Thank y'all for being there. And sometimes I'm tempted to go back. Like, what did I say on that podcast? I can't imagine, but I just can't do it yet. I just can't
Yeah.
go back. But I do think that at some point that's going to be a good thing for me to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just not yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And 2 years ago, she was so vulnerable when John passed away, allowing listeners a glimpse into real grief. And this has been a hard 2-year journey, and she continues to
Mhm.
show up every
Mhm.
week and, like, talk about the frivolous topics, like how you can carry sadness and laughter at the same time. I feel like at some point we need to just talk with Julie about grief, but I also think that it's still a journey for her and it's still kind of going. I mean, it will continue to go on, but
Yeah.
it has to come out naturally and things, but I definitely think that the listeners that have followed that whole journey have really experienced something that you wouldn't normally get to experience.
Well, you're right that joy and grief sit side by side, and it's hard to explain how it happens, but I'm thankful that it does because you you just wouldn't survive. If it was all grief.
Mhm.
So there's still good things, and I'm thankful that God has sustained me and kept me that I can notice those things and
Mhm.
be
Yeah.
grateful for them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's go on and talk a little bit about where we see the podcast going. Where do we see ourselves at our next birthday?
Oh, I don't know what the future holds, honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, have we talked about all the topics already? I don't know. I mean, I've said that for years. I think we've talked about it all.
Mhm.
But I've always, and I say proud in a, if you could say it in a correct way, like I've been proud of our content and I just always want to make sure it remains like relevant and helpful and good.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, and I just know I'll really miss it when we're done, you know? So, but I think for the next little bit, I hope we can keep cheering on our listeners and encouraging them and helping them know we're right there in the same boat, you know?
Mhm.
I think we're going to be 80-year-old grannies still podcasting. So that's where I see this podcast going.
Well, then we need a name change.
True.
When life matters, who cares? No, one thing that I think I see for us is traveling. At some point, I have always thought the three of us would take a trip together,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
that would be a catalyst for a lot of episodes.
Oh, that'd be
But
awesome.
just so you know, if I hadn't said it enough, will be an empty nester next year.
I know.
Is that your hint?
I'm joining in with you, and I do believe that I think that would be a great catalyst for a lot of creativity to be able to travel together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could plan out the next 20 episodes. Is that what you're talking
Hello?
about?
Yes.
We could do a travel weekend a month.
Why not?
Oh, I kind of had London in mind, but you know.
I really, Julie, without putting too much pressure on you, I see you, really kind of spearheading an awesome trip.
Mhm.
I'd
Okay.
follow you anywhere.
I got it all planned.
And as long as Marie gets her own bed, we're
Yeah.
all happy.
We can share a closet and Marie gets the bed.
That's right. Listen, we can do a podcast about how to pack, because you can do it all in a book bag, right?
Right, right.
How to pack, how to travel, how to navigate transportation, booking everything. All those things would stress me out,
Yeah.
and you're so good at it. So.
Yeah. I would love to do a travel. That would be awesome. Yeah, I think if there's one thing we should have learned by now is you can't predict. At year 2, we wouldn't have thought we'd still be here at year 7. So we don't know.
Right.
If you wanna keep hearing us, you need to send in ideas. I will say we are scraping the barrel.
And we've told you all we know about menopause and empty nest.
Yes.
Listen, I was going to just say, if enough time passes, we can do a postmenopausal episode.
We just
Hey, I'm
need
already there.
a nugget of an idea. Like you think of one sentence and we will run
Yep.
with it.
Like
got
something about your neighbor.
Yes.
That's right. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's end on what has been the best thing about doing this podcast.
Well, I've already said that I loved how it's kept us together. With
Mhm.
Mindy living far away, I feel like I see her. It's not in real life, but I see her face to face. The consistency of it, I don't think would have happened, if it hadn't been for the podcast. And I just know how much I've gotten out of it just in the preparation, the books we've read, the topics, learning how to talk about what I am processing inside. That's a skill for
Mhm.
some of us.
Mhm.
And I also have just loved getting to know listeners, like hearing from them, because honestly, sometimes I forget that there is an audience.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I have loved hearing from you, like just the connections. That's kind of been a neat surprise for me. I never kind of expected that. I mean, Marie and I met a listener for lunch one time. You and Mindy had a meet and greet at your house that I sadly
Mhm.
wasn't able to come to, but I've gotten messages from widows, people that love to travel, people that love Franklin that live clear across the country but want to come through here and go, what coffee shop,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when I see those people, on social media, I feel like they're kind of friends.
That's awesome.
So that's been a surprise and a blessing from it all for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely have to say, first and foremost, and really just top of my mind, is your friendship, because I have moved quite a bit and I've moved all my life. It really means a lot to me to have walked through so many seasons with people that I talk to once a week.
Mhm.
I haven't had that at all, ever
Mhm.
in my life. And so it really is rewarding, and it's true, genuine friendship. And I feel like, maybe, I don't know, God had something special for us planned when Marie asked us to do this that I had no idea,
Mhm.
that
Definitely.
it would get to this point, but we've all really celebrated together and we've all really grieved together. And I think it's pretty unique that I have two friends that live in Nashville. And
that just means you're going to come back someday, Mindy.
That's what all the young adults that visited me from Nashville last weekend said. So how about coming back? You never know. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm so thankful for your friendship.
Yeah, I feel like I can't really pick one best thing about the podcast, but I definitely think just exploring all these topics has made me a deeper thinker. Like, I just wouldn't have thought about some of these things, or I don't know, just it's such a privilege when anyone wants to know what you think about something. Like, we don't take that lightly. Like, if you ask us what we think about something, we really try to figure it out. And so I think just the best thing about the podcast after our friendship is just all that we've learned. Like, it's been such a rich, growing experience. And I would have never thought that I would get the chance to touch on so many topics and get a chance to even say what I thought about them.
All these topics I never would have known to read all those books and talk about every chapter. And it's been such a joy that now I actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
But it is a learning, it's an opportunity to learn and grow. And as much as that can be scary, it really is invigorating.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm always happier when I have learned and when I have grown, especially with friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, we just thank you for joining us on this 7-year journey. We thank you for showing up for our birthday party, for helping us celebrate, and we hope that we get to celebrate more birthdays with you. We always, always appreciate our listeners.
Yes, we really do.
Oh, yeah. Keep reaching out. Like, we love to hear from you. And as much as we do this for the three of us, we really try to encourage in every possible way.
Yes, we definitely do. So, all right, Julie and Mindy, we will talk with you next week.
All right.
Hey, sounds great.
Bye. We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.